Do you think that if you work hard in America, you can become rich even if you're poor?
Yeah, if you work hard enough and get good jobs and go up, move up the levels in management positions.
Do you think it's easier if you start out rich with connections than if you start out not
Oh
rich?
yes, much easier.
Do you think this is an issue?
Yes.
Like, do you think it's a issue people are aware of?
Some people, the people who are poor and working very hard, those people are definitely aware of it. And
Do you think, how long do you think this has been an issue?
since as long as like ancient Rome, ancient Greece,
Okay.
for rich people, the more rich you are, the more money you can make, the better connections you have. You can get higher jobs, and you can make more money. Then you have more power, so on, so on. Whereas if you're poor, it's an opposite spiral.
How are you aware of this inequality?
You can observe it in everyday life. If you look at the CEOs, most CEOs of places, Bill Gates, he went to a very good school.
He dropped out.
That's because he was too good for it, like Albert Einstein.
Like, do you think it's created by the media, or do you think it's just the way it is?
I think it's just the way it is.
Would you say it's a vicious circle?
Oh yeah, definitely.
When was the last time you watched a movie that is considered influential in the popular culture?
Define considered influential in the popular culture.
Something that was produced recently, and that was popular to some extent.
Recently popular. I saw The Adventures of Tintin. I know that's a.
Do you feel okay? In the Adventures of Tintin, the hero is a journalist, and there's never really any kind of indication of his wealth. Would you say he's poor or rich?
I'd say he's probably in the middle class because he can buy stuff and he can travel over the world, but he never really shows signs of being rich. He doesn't really show signs of being evil.
So Tintin's friend, the captain, would you say he's rich or poor?
He's a little rich in the movie. At the beginning and middle, he's drunk. He's just usually drunk, but at the end of the movie, he and Tintin find the treasure.
Do you think he worked hard to get rich?
Um,
Or was he
he
just
had
rich
to wait
because his family?
patiently, and well, he had to work hard to find the riches that family had left him. So I'd say he worked pretty hard to get rich.
Do you think that that movie continues the cycle that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer? Do you think it glorifies it or make it seem okay?
Can't say.
Do you think it has any effect?
Other than making kids my age and younger want to go off and find treasure.
Do you think it's realistic that it is possible for you to go on an adventure and get a lot of money and come back?
Yeah. If like if you're an archaeologist, go to Egypt, uncover a tomb full of gold. sort of thing.
But to be an archaeologist, you have to go through school, you have to get high marks and get grants and things so that you can go over to the other lands and find that treasure, which takes a lot of hard work.
Exactly.
So, do you think it takes hard work to be able to go get rich?
Yeah.
So doesn't that mean that it does perpetuate the myth that if you work hard, you can make it big even if you're poor?
As I said before, you can, but also it really helps if you inherit lots of money.
Yes, that's my next point was, isn't it easier if the treasure's in your basement because your daddy gave it to you? Do you think, how do you think we could erase this inequality between the rich and the poor so that the poor can get richer and the rich, who don't necessarily need to be richer, stay the same or whatever?
Well, the first thing, which is nearly impossible to do, is to make sure everyone has equal starting points, and from there it's fate. How hard you work. The other way but it's really hard to do. Communism did not work.
Do you think that the rich people control the media?
Look at Fox News, and then come back and I'll say yes.
What about like movies?
Which people founded Hollywood? Which people give the money for Hollywood videos?
Do you think that rich people control the government?
A little. Depends
So
on whether it's a Republican government or Democratic government.
Are you saying which one is which?
Republicans are rich. Democrats are not influenced by rich people.
What country in the world has the most fair starting points in terms of money and class?
America, probably.
You can pull yourself up by your own bootstraps.
Yeah.
Do you think that's part of the American identity? That if you come to America and you're smart and you work hard, you can be anything you want to be?
I'll not quite be anything you want to be, but you can make. But if you smart and you work hard and you work well, you make money and you can make good amounts of money.
Do you think that's important to the American identity? Do you think that's part of the American identity?
From other countries' point of view, yeah. A lot of other countries say everyone in America is rich. Not that that's exactly true.
Where do you think that's created from? Where do you think this image is created from?
From the fact that there are a lot of rich people in the USA, and also the fact that the people in these other countries, what they're hearing about is they're hearing about the rich people, they're not hearing about all the poor people.
Do you think that 10 years from now, things will even out in terms of equality? Or do you think things will continue to get worse with the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer?
There's too many unknowns.
Such as?
Who will be president? How will
Okay.
the economy be? Will there be lots of new job opportunities, or will companies plummet?
So not specifically class, but do you feel any sort of message is being sent to you or tried to be kind of propagandized to you from movies and TV and media artifacts that are targeted towards you, such as Tintin or Disney movies or whatever? even video gaming? Do you think there's a message that, being rich is good or being rich is bad?
There's a definite message in everything that if you're rich, you're happy. Being rich is good. And if it's true in everyday life.
What makes you say that if you're rich, you're happy?
Because, well, not necessarily if you're rich, you're happy, but if you have a lot of money, and you can buy lots of things to make yourself happy.
Do you think in movies, evil people are more rich or more poor?
Evil people are more rich, usually.
Can you give some examples?
Adventures of Tintin, for one thing. Of course, in Tintin's actor is pretty rich.
Okay. Do you think that this kind of messaging, where the evil person is rich, has changed? Or do you think it's still present?
I think it's still present. The more evil you are, the more money you can make. Still evilness.
Do you think it is the role of the government to keep things equal between the rich and the poor, so that the poor have opportunities to become rich, and the rich don't have too many abilities to abuse their power?
Yeah, it's one of the many jobs of the government that the government just does not do.
Do you think it's the job of the poor to defend themselves?
No. Well, yes and no.
Do you think it's the job of the rich to defend the poor?
Again, yes and no. It's up to the poor to make themselves money. It's up to the rich and to the government to make sure that the poor have chances to make themselves money.
Do you think there will always be poor people?
Yes.
Why do you say that?
Because if there was no poor people, then the economy would crash. Because if there was no poor people, there would be no one to have big incentives to work really hard and do farming and other stuff like that. Everyone would want to buy food, and there would be no one to make the food, and we'd run out of food, we'd run out of lots of stuff.
What about middle class? They don't really have that as much of an incentive to work hard.
They still have, the definition of middle class is a house, car. My personal definition is a house, car, money to have a family, and a job. Not enough money that you don't have to work, but enough money that if you work, you have plenty of money and a good job.
Do you think that media targeted towards your age group, and do you think that there is a message either saying that rich people are good or rich people are bad?
Mostly that it's good to be rich, but not all rich people are good.
Okay. Do you think that in America, if you work hard, you have the same chance of getting ahead as someone who's rich?
Depends on how hard you work.
If you work as hard as the rich person.
No.
Do you think that the media continues the idea that if you work hard, it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, you can get far?
I don't think the media really portrays that.